gosh. The camera's moving. The camera's moving. Ooh, ooh, whoa, 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 whoa! Ah! I'm driving to Bisbee, Arizona today, and Bisbee is way down by the Mexican border for the Sidepony Express Music Festival. My first show is at noon, and I have 3 shows today. You may be saying, well, Jeremiah, 3 shows is a lot to play in one day. Well, each show is maybe about an hour long at most. And most of the shows that I've been playing on this tour are 3 hours long. Yes, each one is 3 hours long, which is longer than most touring bands that you go see. Maybe most of them play for, I don't know, an hour and a half. But I've been doing mainly 3-hour shows this whole tour, so this won't be any different. In fact, this will be a little better because with 3 different shows at an hour long at most, I can play a lot of the same songs. So, hey, my favorite ones, why not? I'm here in Bisbee, and it's raining a little bit, but I did get some footage before it started. It's a really cool town. It's a really cool little town. It was founded as a copper, gold, and silver mining town. They used to mine all those precious metals here, and actually still do to some extent. But Old Town Bisbee has since shifted from being a focus on copper to a focus on art. There's a lot of artists that move down here to be inspired by the land. And it is quite an inspiring place. You know, Tombstone, I passed Tombstone coming down, and they sort of brag that they're the town that just won't die. And I don't think that's a good thing, actually, because the only thing that's keeping them alive is tourism. They just have that one strip, and they have a gunfight every day that is a reenactment of the OK Corral and Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, that gunfight. So it's the only thing that's keeping them alive. I would say that the town that can't die is Bisbee because it has made a shift. It has made a shift from being a mining town into an art town. And there is a lot of tourism. Like, if you want to see what old Arizona is like, I wouldn't say go to Tombstone, I'd say go to Bisbee, because it's really cool to see the evolution. All of the buildings are still old, and they still have the roots in the Old West, and yet the artists have taken them and made them new to some extent. It's a fun place to be. If you haven't checked it out, you should. Now, I'm gonna go back to enjoying some music. Interview coming up here with a Vegas radio station. I figured I'd record it on my end and share a couple questions with you, and then maybe share a link to the whole broadcast if that's published online. So now I just gotta wait for the call. Yeah, of course. The idea for the song comes from back in the 1400s and 1500s and before. They could only bury people on holy land. And as you can imagine, in the UK and stuff, you start to run out of land, like church land or a land or a plot of land that was blessed by the church. So you could only bury people on that land, and they started running out of room. So what they did was, and this is a true story, what they started doing was they had to dig people up to make room for the people who were just dying. And when they did that, and they opened up some of the coffins, they found gouge marks and scratch marks on the inside. So they thought that they may be burying people alive. And of course, they decided that they didn't want to do that because people would be just napping and then they'd just bury them. So what they started doing was they tied strings to their hands and then ran it up through the ground and attached it to a bell that was laid out next to the tombstone. So if a person was alive and moving around in the coffin, then that bell would ring, and the person working the graveyard shift would come around if they heard the bell ring and try to dig up that person who was buried alive before they ran out of air. And if they were successful in digging that person up before they ran out of air, they were said to be saved by the bell. And I guess that's where that saying came from. So that's what Busy My Spade is about, except it's told from the gravedigger's perspective, and he's kind of cocky about it too. He's got 100% save rate, is what he likes to say. It's called Busy My Spade. Your sister's hand, laid out the bell after she got low. And I was summoned here to be the guide and sing her off to the other side. But if anything should happen, you'd be the first to know. Is she laying in the shade of a reaper's gown? I visit my spade when I hit up inside of that house. When I found God just made from within. Maybe a lover, mother or brother. It wasn't long till I found another, put down low when they never should have been.